All right, the process of the cyclonic storm Michaung has already made its way towards its landfall. It's just begun, the process of which, as the states, including Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, gearing up for this massive impact. We know that visuals there quite telling as the ocean storm that we see, high tides, and that storm coming very close to its area of landfall anytime now. 2 p.m. is the time that's been given. Cyclone Michaung landfall process that now begins. Pramod Madhav, who's right there at the epicenter. Pramod, take it away. Cyclone Michaung to making its landfall at 2 p.m.
Absolutely, Nabila. The landfall process has all been initiated, and we are in a location called as Baptla, where there is absolutely a lot of water, a lot of rain, and a lot of wind as well. The wind speed has increased. In fact, you could see those coconut trees over there. They are absolutely dancing to these winds, and the sea is completely at rage, and that's the reason fishermen have not been allowed to venture here itself. This entire spot is under the control of NDRF because it's a very important beach called Baptla, and earlier also the prediction was made that the landfall would occur between Nellore and Machilipatnam near Baptla as such, but it seems that the landfall process has initiated near Nellore itself, somewhere location called as Kavali, but the brim of the actual anger of the cyclone, severe cyclone Michaung, you can see here the way it's lashing. The wind is completely lashing over here. Thankfully, no people are allowed. Only swimmers, NDRF team, they are on the ground. They are monitoring each and every exit of the spot just to make sure everybody's sure. This is everybody's safe, and this is the same severe cyclone that ran completely devastated Chennai yesterday with its rains, and currently is bringing a lot of rain to the coastal parts of Andhra. Nabila.
Well, Pramod, I hope you're doing safe, but if you could really show us the visuals right behind you, it seems, we see that the ocean is roaring, and we understand that all low-lying areas along that area have been evacuated. Nearly 9,450 people have been moved out to safety. The IMD predicts the landfall to happen between 1:30 to 2 p.m. A little more on the visuals right behind you, Pramod.
Certainly, Nabila. This is the spot that is Baptla, and you could see that this we are on top of an elevated place, and so that you can show our viewers exactly the kind of what happens when there is a storm. And this one's actually a severe cyclonic storm, definitely with a wind speed of 90 to 100 kilometers, and the gust speed is 110. It's just pushing us away from where we are currently. But this is how a storm looks, and NDRF team has very clearly mentioned that nobody should venture out during this spot because there will be debris that will be flying at high speed, causing a lot of damage. And this is being a fisherman hamlet. The boats that were placed over here have been already anchored. In fact, even birds are struggling to fly at this spot. That's the kind of difficult situation a severe cyclonic storm brings. But the most scariest part here is that a calm beach that is supposed to be Baptla is actually at rage. That's what nature, the way it can completely change. All this we are able to see at this spot, Nabila.
Do clarify for us, do we know if the landfall has happened or the process of which has just begun?
Nabila, as per the initial recent report, we've got information that the landfall process has started, and already the inner bands of the cyclone has entered. These are the bands that brought rainfall for Chennai and now for Andhra, coastal parts of Andhra. 8 districts in specific, and as the landfall process completes the eye of the storm, as it completely enters the land, the outer bands also will bring in a lot of rain. This is what Andhra government is also being prepared since yesterday. Andhra government claims 8 districts are vulnerable to get severe rainfall, and officials have been placed over there. 5 NDRF teams, 5 SDRF teams are on standby. We also spoke to NDRF team at this area. Relief camps close to 181 have also been placed at locations where people can come to a safe zone. Food has also been prepared over there. We saw a couple of them staying at a relief camp in Machilipatnam as well. And medical supply, as per the officials, are also here. Looks like it will take another 2-3 days minimum for the government, the people here to come back to normalcy because of Cyclone Michaung. Nabila.
We say, Pramod, that this cyclonic storm that's been building up and gaining momentum for the last 24 hours has already caused huge damage. It's devastated areas in Chennai, and this we see in Andhra Pradesh as well, where at least 10,000 people have been evacuated to safety areas. The most low-lying areas are now, most people who are living in the low-lying areas have been moved out. So we know that this is a cyclonic storm that can cause huge devastation. Will that really have an adverse impact to the tune of what we saw in the last 24 hours while it makes its landfall? We are, of course, keeping our cameras rolling and focused on this momentum that the cyclone is gaining. Huge, heavy rains. In fact, the heavy rains has also hit Chennai and parts of Tamil Nadu as well. That's ruined public and private property. It's flooded homes. It's destroyed cars. And areas along the coastal region has really been disturbed. Now, as it makes its landfall, is there going to be a devastating impact? Pramod, if you could clarify for us. We know all precautions have been taken to ensure people are taken to safety. But what's the worst that can happen while this cyclone makes its landfall?
Nabila, the cyclone, the kind of like area it's going to make a landfall called as Nadu, and the outer band that is actually causing this effect. Pardon me, we are like for this noise. That is the actual wind on that is a mic picking up. The thing is that like in this area we don't see like it's a kind of like coastal zone, fisherman hamlet, so they're like constantly prepared for such cyclones. We like spoke to the like public as well. The main concern is to save their property, and all those things have been done. But when it came to Chennai, it was an entirely different scenario. Officials are claiming, government officials are claiming that the actual cyclone was stationed there for a long period, which means the bands that brought the rainwater that was really large, and now the DMK government says that the rains were unprecedented. Back in 2015, it was 33 centimeters average, but yesterday alone, it was 34 centimeters average, and the government had no other option but to open up water bodies. That led to flooding in many areas. And the second important aspect that the DMK government is claiming is that as the storm was stationed near Chennai itself, the water, there was no way for the water that was being collected in the city to leave it, which means there was a tidal log. There was no space for high tide or low tide. Only during low tide, water from the city can go to the sea. That was completely logged, leading to a havoc. But right now, we've got reports that Chennai is not having much severe water, and the state government is taking all other measures to make sure that the water, logged water, will be removed soon. However, in zones like Pallikaranai and Velachery, the scenario is entirely different, because there it was already like lake bodies, that is like where buildings were constructed. So those were actual water collection areas which has been like that for hundreds of centuries. So there, once again, when water started collecting, it damaged properties, especially cars, and causing a lot of issues to the public. Government says that measures are being taken also to provide them essential service, but looks like it will take at least a week for them to come back to normalcy. Here you could see people who were still like on the coastal zone who did not listen to NDRF are right now coming running back towards the safe zone as well. This is what NDRF has been saying for like several hours as we were here, that people should not be near the coast zone because it is extremely dangerous. All those sheets that you see over here, if one of it becomes loose, it can become serious, cause serious damage. And here we are showing you the exact ravage a cyclone can do, Nabila.